want to change, but we're stuck in this routine of constantly doing the same exact routine, but our brains are like, no, but I want something different. I know I need something different. How do I get there? So that's why I've loved this book, because it's helped me focus on that. The fundamentals is the beginning of the chapter of why tiny changes make big differences. Something in the book that I'm going to read directly to you guys that stuck out huge to me is the 1%. We are changing every day 1% if we're going towards the habits that we're wanting to. We can also quickly slip into going backwards by doing habits that are toxic, right? Things that aren't pushing us to our goals, things that aren't pushing us towards bettering ourselves. Those are called our toxic habits. Our atomic habits are the 1% goals that are going to push us forward in bettering our habits and bettering our situation, bettering whatever it is that you're trying to get towards, right? Your body, your skin, your hair, whatever it is. So something in the book that they went over was the ice cube theory, which I'm going to read directly from it so that I don't butcher it to death, because it really was amazing. Okay, here it is. So imagine, and if you have the book, it's on page 20. I'm just throwing that out there. But okay, so what progress really looks like. Imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you. The room is cold and you can see your breath. It is currently 25 degrees. Ever so slowly, the room begins to heat up. 26 degrees, 27 degrees, 28 degrees. The ice cube is still sitting on the table in front of you, the same. 29 degrees, 30 degrees, 31, still nothing happened. Then 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. That 1 degree shift, seemingly no different from the temperatures increase before, has it unlocked a huge change. Breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous actions which build up to a potential requirement to unleash that major change. The pattern shows up everywhere. For example, cancer speeds 80% of its life undetectable, then takes over the body in months. Bamboo can barely be seen for 5 years as it builds extensive root systems underneath the ground before exploding 90 feet into the air in a matter of 6 weeks. Similar habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold and unlock the new level of performance. So basically what I took from that is we have no clue, I mean, when that shift is going to change. But you have to just keep pressing that 1% forward every single day to get that big change that we're looking for. Like I was saying at the beginning, our minds are set up to automatically want that automatic gratitude or satisfaction or whatever it is. So we don't have the patience set up in our own brains for that 1% to grow every single day. So that right there is basically a sum up of the first chapter, is just kind of getting the idea of what habits are, what systems are around your habits, and just kind of making you more aware, which kind of brings us into, where is it at? Hold on. Let me not go into chapter 3. Okay, yeah, chapter 2, which is the 3 layers to behavior change. So first you need to identify, process, and then the outcomes. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but how you wish to become. For example, if I'm focusing on just getting to the gym every single day, that's going to not be the habit that I'm actually wanting to get, right? The goal for me, it would be to lose weight, to be healthy, all of that. So if I focus on being a healthy person all day long, I will make conscious decisions to get me to the goals that I'm trying to get to. For example, if I'm somewhere and they have an elevator and a stairs, I would look at that as a situation and say, what would a healthy person in this situation do? Would they take the stairs or would they take the elevator? They would take the stairs. So that's how I make my decision. And if I keep making decisions like that, I'm going to get to the goals and the habits that I want to get to. Same thing, like if you say, I want to be a writer, I want to be a person that shows up for my business. How does that look? You know, ask yourself that. person who shows up for their business watch 2 hours of TV right now? No. They're going to take at least an hour of that, put it into a power hour, and get some work done and say, you know what, a busy person or a person who's wanting to have success in their business would actually do the full 2 hours. So you know what, I'm going to do it, because you're already in that process. Your mind's going to be like, I'm already doing it, I might as well. So constantly be thinking of the person that you want to become. What type of habits do they do? Because if you're not doing what they do, you can't get to where they are or where they want to be. So that's the thing. What else before I like get off super sidetrack? Because I want to start getting into chapter 3, because they just all kind of seam into the book where it's like you don't even realize you're like going to next chapters. So yeah, where else? Like, let me take a look. My notes. All right, yeah, exactly. So when you're doing that, your identity starts to emerge, and those habits start to be normal habits. So the habits that you were thinking I could never get to, I could never do, they start to become who you are. They become habits that are automatically into your day. What else? I think that's kind of it for the first 2 chapters. The third and the rest of the chapters start to go into breaking down how to build better habits and like your 4 simple steps, and then also just the laws in themselves. So I think Hannah, if you're ready, can go and take over chapter 3s and 4. Yeah, I think I covered most of the notes from that. If you guys have any questions about what I've been saying so far, let me know.
All right. Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. You did such a great job, Ashley. Thank you so much. We're so excited to start doing these calls. We've been learning this on our own, and we just really feel like it's valuable to know and to share. And so we really appreciate you guys being here for sure. So like Ashley said, your habits, it's not only the things that you do consciously, it's a majority things that you do unconsciously. And so if you're having a hard time getting out of habits, it's not because you're lazy, it's because you need to learn how to hack your brain. This is all based in science, and this is all based in the way that your brain and our natural, I don't know, psychology as humans, the patterns that we follow. And so what I really like about this personally is that it's written by someone who's doing a lot of different studies, looking into a lot of different research. Like, this is brain science. And so if you can follow the steps, which I'm about to get to, which is the 4 steps to building a better habit, is chapter number 3, then you can start to really see changes that will last. So like Ashley said, as humans, we're constantly looking for things that are satisfying. So our behaviors will follow satisfying consequences that tend to be repeated, and then unpleasant consequences are less likely to be repeated. It's just natural. It's natural as something that your cats or your dogs would do. It's not something that is mutually exclusive to humans. And a habit is a behavior that's been repeated enough times to be automatic. So your brain wants to save as much of the energy as it can for tasks that are most important and tasks that are potentially dangerous. If we're going a little bit further back into like how humans used to live, fight or flight, we're not really like having to be on the lookout for predators right now, but our brains are still doing that natural process. So after you've done something multiple times, your brain puts that into the automatic, the unconscious. That's why we have to learn how to hack our brain, because a lot of these habits that we're doing are not conscious. They're not on our forefront. Our brain has slid them into the back for us because it wants to make sure that we have the energy to be prepared to do whatever we need to do, whatever is going to be most important. You know what I mean? Let me see. So as we go through life, we're trying to solve problems, and our brains are trying to find ways to solve problems. And so that's the natural process. As we find the quickest way to do something, like Ashley said, when she wakes up in the morning, she gets her serotonin from looking at her phone. She solved that problem for herself. Her brain, her like unconscious has started to solve that problem, and it's turned into a habit. And so for us, replacing our habits with better habits is super important. The last thing I want to say before I get into the 4 steps is that a lot of people feel like having habits are going to restrict them. Like if they are so scheduled out, if they're so disciplined with themselves that they're taking away their freedoms, and that they're no longer going to have time to do other things. And what I want you to know is that by having good habits, you're actually saving your energy, and you're going to save yourself time, because you are putting more energy into those habits that are not serving you in the long run. And you don't have the mental space that you need for the creativity that you want in your life. Once you can get those good habits into the automatic, into the subconscious. Oh my God, my cat is like up on top of something. Hey, I'm so sorry, you guys. Hold on. Oh my God. Okay, sorry. He's a little fucker. Anyways, let me talk about the 4 steps, okay? So as you are going through your life, the building of a habit can be divided into 4 simple steps. The first step is the cue. The second step is the craving. The third step is the response. And the 4th step is the reward. Every single habit that we have in our life, whether it's something that we're conscious of or something that we're unconscious of, follows those 4 steps. And the reason why it's in our life is because it satisfies all 4 of those steps. If one of those steps is not fully satisfying, like for example, if the reward isn't satisfying, what you're getting out of doing that habit, if it doesn't do it for you anymore, like for example, the coffee, you might stop drinking it because you're no longer getting that full reward. So all 4 parts of that need to be strong in order for the habit to continue. So knowing that, you can hack that, and you can control one of the 4 aspects in order to change the habit that you want to change. So first, there is the cue. I'm going to get a little bit more into like the 4 different parts. So the cue is, like they said, if it were our ancestors, it would be like a crack in the grass where we like hear that there's a predator coming towards us. But for us, a cue could be something that we hear, we see, we smell, we think. It starts to trigger a craving. When we have a craving, we're not craving that substance or that whatever we're going for. We're craving the feeling after. We're searching for a chemical response from our brain for that serotonin or that little drip of whatever gets us going. You know what I mean? And we will attach whatever it is to that. So cues can be different for different people. If you are somebody who used to be addicted to smoking cigarettes and you smell a cigarette, you might have that craving. That could be a cue for you. If I'm somebody who's never smoked cigarettes and don't like cigarettes, that's not going to make me crave anything. They give an example of like a gambler. Say that you're walking through a casino and you hear the slot machine jingle. For some people who are addicted to gambling, that's going to be a cue for them. That's going to start triggering a craving. For somebody who doesn't care about gambling like me, that's not going to trigger anything for me. So the cue is the smell or the sound or whatever changes in the atmosphere or inside of you that makes you crave something. Craving is the second step. The third step is the response. And so the first 2 don't have any action in them. They're just like thoughts and cravings and wants. But then you get into the last steps, which is the response and the reward. So the response is what you choose to do. And yes, exactly. The response is what you choose to do, and the reward is what you get out of it. Let me see. So the reward serves 2 purposes. Either the reward is something that satisfies us, or the reward is something that teaches us. Our life is literally, we are creatures stuck to our cravings. Like it's in our psychology, in our biology, we search for cravings. We search, he was up there on top. We're constantly looking for those things that are going to give us those feel good feelings. Let me see. So you could also think of it like the problem and solution phase. If you have a problem, you have the cue and the craving, you're going to start looking for a solution, which is your response and your reward. And I think I want to give you guys some examples of cues and cravings that you might have in your life so that you can kind of start to notice these patterns that you're following through. They give us like a chart on this page. So imagine that your cue is your phone buzzing for a new text message. I'm sure we can all relate to this. I get an IG alert and my craving is I need to see what it's about. Your response is grabbing the phone and looking at it. And your reward is the satisfaction of reading the message. Now, for all of us, grabbing your phone is associated with the buzzing. And I know we all do it, and I do it like literally automatically, even at times when it's like, dude, it's not that important. Like, I have to look at it. Another one, when we wake up, Ashley kind of talked about this. You wake up. Okay, so the cue is you wake up. The craving is you want to feel more alert. What is your response? My response is I drink a cup of coffee. What's the solution that you found in your life that helped you to feel more alert when you first wake up? Ashley said maybe it's her going on her phone. She's reconnected. She's up. She's in whatever, her like connecting in her circle again. You making the cup of coffee or you picking up your phone. Stephanie said her skincare routine. Yes, Stephanie, so you obviously have a really good habit that you've put in, because we all have that craving in the morning. We choose how we fill it in. You know what I'm saying? Stephanie uses her skincare routine, and that's much better. And if you could do a swap, if you could start to use that coffee mask in the morning, get yourself awake on your face, and maybe like cut out the drinking coffee. I'm talking to myself, but I don't want to do it. So yeah, let me see. So there are 4 laws of behavior change. This man, James Clear, has done a lot of research, and this is what he says. You know, a law is something that has not been disproven, you know. So this is what he says. A law is that the first step, the cue, has to be obvious. If the cue isn't obvious, if you can't hear it, if it just doesn't connect for you, it's not going to be a habit. The second law is the craving. It has to be attractive. If your craving isn't attractive, if it, like for example, with the cigarettes, you know, like if it's not attractive to you, if maybe you even smell it, like I have smoked a cigarette before, and sometimes I smell it, and if I'm in the right mindset, I'm like, I could go for a little drag, but like, no, I don't smoke them. It's unattractive to me. No matter how much I smell it, it doesn't cross that line for me. It's not attractive enough for me to actually want to light one up and have one in my hand. I'm not going to do it. I don't want it. The third law is the response, and it has to be easy. Like if Stephanie's skincare routine is in her car, and in order for her to wash her face, she has to walk out to her car, it's not easy enough. And that is something that can keep you from following through with your habits. You have to make it easy for yourself. If it's difficult, maybe you'll stop doing it. Maybe you need to get whatever is your bad habit out of the house. Ashley, could you make it more difficult for you to get to your phone? I talk about this and I still keep mine next to me, but if you make it more difficult for yourself, maybe you're not going to go for it. And the last one is satisfying. If the reward is not satisfying, or if it stops being satisfying, then you're not going to follow through on it. Like, if Ashley or if Stephanie was washing her face, but like it just wasn't doing it for her anymore, it wasn't waking her up, then she wasn't seeing results, then she might stop doing it. It just like wasn't satisfying her anymore, and then maybe she'll replace it with a different habit. Okay, so the first law is make it obvious. I'm going to get in, this chapter is going to talk about habit stacking. I'm sorry that sometimes I feel like I drag out myself talking, and if I'm going too long, just put it in the chat. I'm looking and I can like summarize it better. So the next one is making it obvious. This chapter is called The Man Who Didn't Look Right. I'm not really going to go into that first story because I don't think that it's important, but I think that we underestimate how much our brains and our bodies do without us thinking. We don't realize how much we are doing under the surface without it being on our forefront. And a lot of this is bringing it up to your forefront. So I want to talk about, like, if you're trying to change your morning routine, it goes on to give you an activity that you can do. You need to write down everything that you're doing in the morning and be honest and be specific so that you can bring up all of those unconscious habits to the forefront so that you can find out the one that you need to change. And Ashley talked about identity. And if your identity is I'm a healthy person, write down everything that you're doing in the morning. And like I said, be honest, write it all down. You need to find which one of those are unhealthy. And that's the one that we want to focus on removing or replacing next. So, hold on one second. Okay, so I want to go on to an example. I really like this one. It's about the Japanese railroad system. And it's one of the best in the world. It's in Tokyo. It's the trains that you can ride. But the conductors have a habit. And this is using the science of our brain and our conscious versus unconscious to keep people safe. So the operator of the train, they have to go through a certain checklist to make sure that everything, all the safety protocols have been followed. And these people check this, that, and they check it, but they were finding that there was a lot of injuries because the brain was putting those things that they need to have on the forefront of their mind. It has to be in their conscious. The brain started to put it into the unconscious because they were doing it every day or multiple times a day. And so they started to do something different. They started to do the pointing and calling method, which means that it's a safety system that helped to reduce mistakes. So it actually it changed errors like by 50%. It had a 50% decrease in injuries or errors after using this. And so you writing down your list is you doing this in your life. What they do is they look and they call and they point, because by using a physical, like pointing with their finger, using their voice, it brings back that step into their conscious. It's not something that they can just look and push back to the unconscious. They get themselves more involved. And so like you guys do it probably when you leave your house, you're like keys, wallet, phone. Like you can think that list in your mind, but you don't know for sure it's true until I put my fingers on that object. Like I freaking know my phone's in my purse, but if I don't touch my phone in my purse, like I don't know that it's in my purse. It's probably not, even though I think it is. You know what I'm saying? So after you make your list, you're trying to figure out which habits are not serving you and which habits are serving you. Good habits are going to have positive outcomes. They're going to help you to be the person that you want to be. If you're trying to be a healthy person, I like that example because Ashley just said it in the beginning. You need to decide which habits are good for a healthy person. Your habits that are good and my habits that are good might be different. If I'm somebody who's trying to lose weight, I wanted to eat less calories. But if I'm somebody who's trying to gain weight, like maybe I just came out of something and I lost a lot of weight from being sick or something, eating a bagel in the morning, it could be a good habit for somebody and it could be a bad habit for somebody. And so it's different depending on what your goal is. So you need to decide what you're working towards and what kind of person you're trying to be. And actually, the next chapter goes into habit stacking, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit right now. And then if you want to talk about it a little bit, either of you, Ashley or Stephanie, you can. So my last piece of advice is habit stacking. So habit stacking is if there is something that you are trying to add into your routine, to do it during a time that you already do a habit. So like, for example, brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth is something that you do every single day, twice a day. If there is something else that you're trying to add in, do it when you brush your teeth. Like for me, my skincare routine actually is how I did it like that. I brush my teeth every day. And so when I go to brush my teeth, I started to wash my face as well. by putting it into a habit that I'm already doing, I don't have to think about it as much. It makes it a lot easier for your brain. It takes less energy. So if there is something that you're trying to add in, also, you guys are going to have the cue either way. Like when you wake up in the morning, no matter what, you're going to have the cue to want more energy. And so replacing habits instead of trying to cut habits out completely is important. You're going to fight yourself so hard with so much energy if you try to keep yourself from craving something to make you alert. You know what I mean? But instead, look for other solutions. Instead of your phone, what else can you do to give yourself that drop of serotonin or whatever you need to help you to feel alert in that moment? If I'm trying to drink less coffee and I don't want to go straight to coffee, I have to look for something else that I can use in that time or during that craving in order to create a new habit. Okay. So let me check this chapter summary to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I think that that's it. And the next chapter is called The Best Way to Start a New Habit. We're going to talk about these ones next. The best way to start a new habit. Motivation is underrated. The environment matters. So we'll talk about how to start a new habit. We'll talk about how to change your environment in order to work for you. And I want you guys to know that we're literally doing this in our life right now. So we're not perfect and we haven't solved all of our problems, but we're chipping away at it a little by little together. So thanks for being here. Ashley, do you want to say something?
Yeah, so some things that just to give you guys some more examples and stuff, because I feel like that really helps when it comes to, yeah, like reading the book is helpful and all, but really like, what's the tea? What are you doing? How is it going? You know? So something that I was saying that I do is, you know, that I was doing is I checked my phone first thing in the morning. Today was a little different, but I still was getting it done. So for example, at night, I leave my phone in the kitchen. And another thing that I had a hard time doing was eating breakfast in the morning. Like I would literally prolong it for some reason until I like got a headache, was sick, all the stuff. So I'm like, okay, these are two habits that I obviously need to like fix. Like reading things first thing in the morning, that's like setting myself up. So I need to first take a moment and do my own mindset stuff. So instead of hopping on my computer, I hop on my TV and I put something on YouTube. So that way I'm not even on the process of scrolling or anything like that. It's literally away from me. And then like, that's a good 15 minutes. I'm ready to use the bathroom. I use the bathroom in the middle of the night, TMI. So I don't usually use it first thing in the morning. So I'm ready to use the bathroom now. As I'm heading off to the bathroom, I use it, do my face routine. So now I'm already doing some more things that I was adding into it. Then I go to the kitchen to grab my phone. Well, I'm already in the kitchen. I might as well make myself some breakfast. So I make myself breakfast. I sit down and then my day starts to go. So I already did my mindset stuff. I was able to just focus on myself for a little bit. I did my routines in the morning. My skincare routine has been something that I've now noticed that if I do not do it in the morning or at night, I feel completely off. Like I don't feel like myself. So that has been something that I just do for myself because you should always be taking things in your routine to do for just you, to better how you feel, to better your mind, to better all of that. Because if how you're setting your morning up truly and your evening, all of it determines how the rest of your day goes. So so by that time, it's already now like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm ready to go for the day. You know, I'm feeling amazing. So that's some things that I've done. And even that, like Hannah said, we're not perfect. Like I said, this morning, it did not go that according to those plans. But was I able to grab everything? The only thing I haven't done is breakfast. So after this call, I'm gonna go grab breakfast. So, because in my mind, that habit, it hasn't been fulfilled yet. So I need to go do it in order to feel like, does that make sense? Like my day's going the way that I'm normally wanting it to go and that I'm setting it up the way that I want it to. So eventually like these habits, they'll be the cues are going to be like how you feel, you know, if it's not like a smell or something like that, use that as an example, or use that as something. If it's not like, okay, I'm trying to not eat brownies. Okay. So don't make brownies so I don't smell it. Something like that. If it's not that simple, then you have to reward yourself a lot deeper. So I know that sounds like a lot to do, especially when you're first starting it out. So just start with little things like, I don't know, one extra push-up when you're doing your workouts, if you're trying to like get a better habit in working out more. Half a bagel instead of a full bagel if you're still trying to watch what you eat in the morning or something like that. If you're trying to cut back on time on your phone, literally turn it off for 5 minutes, turn it back on. It doesn't even need to be 5 minutes. Even that process of you just turning it off and then turning it back on is enough for your brain to have had a moment to have just like start a habit. It doesn't take hours of you doing something for that habit to start changing. It literally just takes you acknowledging it and wanting to change it. So the process of behavior, I wrote in the chat, the process of behavior change always starts with awareness. So as long as you're aware, you're already making changes towards that habit. All right. So I really thank you guys so much for coming to this call. Like Hannah said, we're going to be doing this more often. The next couple of chapters are going to be going more into depth on the laws and how to really change it, how to really notice your habits, how to change them, how to add more habits into the ones that you have. Because like Hannah said, sometimes you can think, I already have so much on my plate. How can I add more? So it really is going to help you set you up for success in that aspect. And yeah, I'm really, really excited for you guys for being here. And I'm excited to start these calls. So if you guys have any questions, I'll stay on for a couple more minutes just to take them. But if not, then you guys have a good rest of your day. And we do have a power hour at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Was it 5:30? I can't remember. Yeah, okay, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. And so if you guys have any questions, let me know. And so yeah, love y'all. Have a good rest of your night or day, whatever it is.
Goodbye. Thank you. Well done, Ashley.
All right, see you later.
You ladies were awesome.
Bye,
Thanks, Sadie.
Thanks for coming. Love you.